Hi, it's great to be talking with you. I hope you're incredibly well. So across the planet at the moment, managers, supervisors, executives, team leaders, anybody who has people reporting to them are being told and encouraged to use a coaching methodology. They're being told that if you coach your direct reports, what's going to happen is you're going to see people engaged in a different way. They're going to give that discretionary effort in the workplace that you're looking for. And yet, what we're also saying is that people across the planet are actually struggling to do exactly that. So again, managers, leaders, team leaders, supervisors, whatever language you want to use, they try to implement a coaching methodology and they try with all sincerity to do this, and they start to struggle, and then they give up and they say this thing called coaching just doesn't work. So why would that happen? Well, before I answer that, let's look at why you would even want to coach. So it's not just about employee engagement. It's not just about saying people passionate and excited about coming to work. That's great. If you can get that, that's awesome. But it's also about the bottom line. So this actually increases the productivity within the workplace. And let me give you one quick example of how that works. So I work with an organisation that spent years training its staff members in a new customer service methodology. So a new way of interacting with their customer base. They spent years, as I said, doing this, and they also spent tens of thousands of dollars training every single staff member to actually implement this new skill set. And then when they measured how well the impact had gone, they found that in fact only 25% of people were actually implementing this new skill set. And that's not unique to this company. It's not unique to the sector that this company works in. It's not unique to the industry type or anything like that. What we know is as people attempt to implement a new skill set in the workplace, only about 30% of all training ever makes it back into the workplace environment. So people go away, they get trained, they're enthusiastic about this new skill that they've learned, they go back to their workplace, and all of the practical things get in the way. I'd love to do this, but I can't because of this reason. I'd love to really do this, but I can't because of that reason. So this is called the implementation dip, and often misinterpreted by managers and supervisors as lack of motivation to deliver this new skill set into the workplace. And then over time, that implementation dip causes people to lose the skill set, lose enthusiasm for it, lose passion for it, and eventually it drifts away. So if you think about your particular industry, your particular business, your company, your organization, and think about the numbers of dollars that you're spending on training people right now. You might be spending hundreds of dollars. You might be spending thousands of dollars. You might be spending millions of dollars. But if you look at the consistent pattern we see, that tells you that 70% of those dollars are wasted because they don't make it back into the workplace environment. That's an enormous waste of dollars. But we do know if you coach people around the new skill set, so not just generic coaching, but actually coaching them specifically around that skill set. How do you implement it? How do you overcome barriers? How do you get past particular challenges? If you do that, you reverse those figures. So 70% of all training then makes it back into the workplace. So for the organisation that I talked with you about before, to coach their employees around this particular customer service methodology would treble the efficacy of the training dollars that they're using. That's massive. It's a huge impact. So yes, coaching does encourage, or workplace coaching does encourage people to become more engaged in the workplace. Yes, it does increase people's discretionary efforts, but it also in many ways impacts upon the bottom line. And the example I've given you is just one example. So knowing all of that, again, why do managers and leaders struggle to do this? Because if you look at the generic coaching models, they were never designed to be used in the workplace environment. They weren't designed for people who are trying to manage people and coach them at the same time. They weren't designed for people who have a power imbalance. So when I'm actually being coached by my boss, there's a real significant dynamic going on here that isn't taken into account by most coaching models. So this is where I come to what we can share with you. So that's a visual representation of a model that actually tracks you through how to overcome the challenges that we've talked about. So how do you as a leader or a manager actually coach your direct reports and take into account the organisational dynamics? So when Billy says, I want to go over here, and you know that tomorrow you're actually going to be having a very difficult conversation with Billy, how do you deal with all of that? So a leader model takes that into account. Where did leader come from? Myself and my business partner, Professor Julia Milner, we saw that this struggle existed, and we also experienced that struggle. So we managed and we supervised people and saw that the traditional models didn't work. But we also have studied coaching at a very high level. In fact, Julia is a professor of both leadership and coaching. We've authored both academically and practically around coaching frameworks. So we really understand at an intellectual level coaching, but we understand coaching at a practical delivery level too. And I've personally trained now thousands of managers around the world. I've trained hundreds of people in this framework leader that you've just seen in how to actually coach within the workplace environment. And what we find is when people are given that skill set, they get it. It makes sense to them. Now they can use coaching. So as we've implemented this in many different industry sectors, what we've found is people say, yes, this is what we've been looking for. If it's what you've been looking for and you want to talk to us, then please reach out. It'll be fantastic to have a conversation with you. Thank you.